to violate this person's civil rights or something like that, you're violating your own
Your
word.
own level. Yep, you're right.
So,
That's true. No, and I totally agree with you. The difficulty though is, okay, at what point does my actions violate it? Because I've used force before
yeah.
to make an arrest. Because sometimes people are like, I'm not going to jail.
Sometimes you have to use force.
So it's like, then I'm like, wait a minute. It's the same thing, same idea as the Hippocratic Oath from the medical environment, right? The doctor sticks you with a needle to give you anesthetic so that you don't feel the incision, but the needle hurts, right?
Yep.
So has he caused harm in violation of the Hippocratic Oath?
Right.
Well, I mean, kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's kind of a weird, like, it's where the line is drawn is a little bit subjective.
Yeah, that's true. If, like, for instance, if someone's running from you and you chase them and catch them and tackle them, that's not a violation. But if you catch them, handcuff them, and decide you're going to beat them with your nightstick.
Afterwards.
All right, nice to meet you, Bob.
Nice to meet you too.
No, you're right. That distinction's important. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it does have to do with if they're now in compliance, I can't use force anymore.
Right.
Yeah. No, and that's a good point because somebody who's not complying. I mean, there's that language you probably heard that. Ask, tell, make. I ask first, then I tell them, then I make them. And I can't. There's some people I can't make, right?
Yeah.
Some little fellow who's like a third-degree black belt in some martial art. I ain't gonna make him do nothing, right? I can try though, but in that trying, I might be justified in it.
Yeah. Well, here's where that radio comes in.
Yes. Exactly.
I'm not against officers sitting back and waiting for reinforcements to show up and dealing with things that way. But like this is, say you got 20 people walking up and down the hallway and you see someone walking by you with a gun, right? For you to pull that gun out, your gun out and turn around and aim it at them with people in the backdrop.
Who aren't even involved.
Yeah.
Right.
I have an issue with that because if you miss, you're going to hit someone else, and you're going to hit an innocent person.
Yeah. And we know from scientific studies that the higher level of stress you're in, the less control you have over fine motor skills.
Less accuracy.
It's a fine motor skill to fire a gun, even if you're well practiced. Right? You still lose some fine motor skill because of that stress. So you're right. Not only, even if you're a great shot, the stress of that real environment versus what you're doing on the range is going to change how good a shot you are.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know what will happen, right?
No.
You don't know how much stress is going to impact your fine motor skills. Maybe it won't affect it at all, and you're just perfect. But maybe it'll affect it a whole lot. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So you're right. You got to be really careful.
Yeah. And in the courtrooms, I don't videotape inside the courtrooms. And I try not to get witnesses that are sitting down because you don't know what the case is.
That's also a good point. Yeah. A victim should have some sense of, or a juror for that matter, should have some sense of anonymity. I mean, it can't be perfect, right? But they should have some sense of anonymity and protection when they're in the courtroom.
Right.
The jurors didn't want to spend their time listening to a case, and the victim or the witness, a lot of times they don't want to testify.
Yeah, and
you certainly don't want to show up on your camera.
Yeah, and when I do videotape in the courtroom, I contact the judge ahead of time or the court clerk and say, this is what I want to videotape. This is the case. And I always point toward the judge or the defendant or the DA. I don't point it toward the jurors. I don't point it toward the witnesses. And I don't point it toward the people in the stands. So.
Yeah, those are thoughtful considerations. Yeah, because I mean, the courtroom, not the hallways, but the courtroom belongs to the judge, right?
Yeah.
It's the judge's responsibility to decide what kind of activity should happen in the courtroom. And if they're okay with you filming, fine, but we probably ought to ask first.
Yeah. Well, you don't know what kind of case, I might walk into a courtroom, set up my camera, throw up a tripod, and it's a child molesting case.
Yes.
You know, and then they bring the child in as a witness. There's my camera pointing right at it. That's not cool.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I agree with you.
Or I go in there and start filming, and it's a child sexual case, and they have big pictures up there.
Right.
You know.
Or even a homicide. Where they have some crime scene photos. That's going to feel to many people like a violation of the family who's left behind. The family that's a violation.
Yeah.
If you show pictures on your video of PowerPoint or whatever shows from the easel or whatever. Yeah. And that's not as big a deal, but still, it's like it's something to think about.
Right. But yeah, it's object is to have respect. Always tell people when you're being video recorded. If I'm doing a First Amendment audit, like if I have a camera like this, if I go in, someone's behind a desk, that's here or there. They know I'm video recording.
They know. Yeah.
But someone that walks into the office, they may not, even if they see the camera. Well, what's the camera? So you always tell any visitors.
Yeah. And maybe they don't realize they're being recorded because your back is to them.
Yeah.
So they don't see the camera on the other side. Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is you tell them. Everyone that goes into a courthouse or a public building sees these cameras right here. So yeah, you're gonna have cameras and stuff, and people are gonna know that they're being recorded and stuff. So.
Yeah. The one difference though is that with those cameras, I'm in control of those.
Yeah.
This one I have no control over. Right? So there's that kind of that uncertainty, like where's that going to appear? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know where it's going to appear, and I don't edit things. The first time I'll put it out, it's in like 15-minute segments.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll put it up as the whole video. And then if I got time, I got videos all the way back to 2016 that I haven't edited yet.
Oh yeah.
So if I get time, then I'll edit.
Yeah.
But.
And a lot of times I wouldn't think your followers on YouTube would watch most of them wouldn't watch the entire, looking for something kind of cool. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe somebody yelling at you or someone knocking the camera out of your hand or something. But most of the time, it's like, I can see people like, what's Bob doing today? And they watch it and they're like, oh, this is kind of boring. Walking down the hallways.
Yeah.
Right? And then they don't even watch it.
Well, it depends. If I walk down in the hallways and nothing happened, people would say, yeah, it's boring and stuff like that. As soon as there's a cop interaction, boom, they're on it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because people want to see audio and video recording. People want to see me videotape and get beat down by the police.
They're hoping to see you.
Yeah. And they've had auditors that were shot. One was shot by a security guard down in LA. I believe he's being charged. I heard they had a cop watcher back east get killed, get shot by a police officer because they mistaken the camera for a gun.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's kind of scary for you, I suppose, huh?
Yeah.
Hearing those stories.
Yeah, but I look at it this way. Most of the cops, most of the police in the state of Oregon know who I am. I went out to Astoria, they all knew me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
One cop pulled me over. Oh, hey, Mr. West, how you doing? All right. He goes, well, I pulled you over because your taillights were out.
No.
I go, what? So I went back and looked. Sure enough, they were out. I go, I'll fix them tomorrow. To that morning later.
Nice. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's most of them know me. Most of them know that I go around from the police and I do audits. Most of them know that I give the respect that I get back in return. Best way to talk to me is just the way you do.
Thank you.
You know, if an officer's sitting there yelling at me, giving demands, he's going to get yelled at back. But yeah, that's the main thing that people want to see me get beat down by the police. So So they watch and look for that, and then they're bummed when it doesn't happen. I'd remember that fire up there near Estacada, I think it was just 2 years ago?
Probably
A year ago?
There's been a lot recently.
Yeah. Well, this one was the one that they thought was going to take out Estacada.
Oh.
And it was near Mill City and all that stuff. Okay. One of the Clackamas County Sheriff's deputies sat there and said, I need your help. Antifa's up here burning down these woods, and people are going to die. You know, I need you to watch and call your friends and have them come up and videotape and take pictures of any suspicious vehicles doing anything, especially lighting fires.
Oh, yeah.
I go, he goes, I'm sure you don't want to see people die up here. I go, I don't want to see people die up here. That's not my thing. So I did call people, and they showed up, and a lot of them showed up with guns. A couple showed up with cameras, and they went Antifa hunting, and they didn't find any Antifa, so.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good because they probably would have shot them.
Minus all that due process that's in the Constitution.
Yeah. And so I still get comments on that video. I mean, that video got like 30,000, 40,000 views in a matter of a week.
That's impressive.
And all the news agencies had it on their stuff, but yeah, it was. I still get comments. How can a cop watcher work with the police? You know,